Hello, and welcome to another edition of You Can Get There From Here. I'm Dr. Joe Moore, Chair of the Department of Communication and Digital Media Production at the University of Central Missouri, and it's my pleasure every week to get to sit down and visit with some of our alumni. I talk to those who graduated with degrees in digital media production, others who got their degree in communication studies, and some who earned their master's degree. Say hello to Allie Overstreet. I'm so excited to have Allie on today. We've been trying to get this coordinated for some time. She is a story of keep on keeping on. She earned her degree in 2019 in digital media production with a desire to work in professional sports, and she's doing it today. Allie, great to have you on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's really great to see you again, too.
You too. It's been a long time. I remember one of the last things we did together, I had you and Jake Werther and Allison at that time. I'm blanking on Allison's last name at that time. What was her last name?
Cook.
Cook. Allison Cook. She got married. She has a new last name now.
Married now, yeah. So it's always
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. But we went to a Mavericks game, Kansas City Mavericks game. I took a group up there for a hockey game to see what they do with their production, and you three rode with me, and we had a good old time, right?
Oh yeah. I one of my favorite was the MIAA
Yeah.
basketball championship. That was a really fun experience.
You were one of the first to be a part of that crew and did the sideline reports and the highline reports. I remember that. We had a lot of fun there too. Got to have a lot of great experiences. So it's all paying off for you today. But I tell you what we want to start with what got you here to UCM? Where are you from? What got you here to UCM? And what got you interested in digital media production? And then we'll get into what you're doing today.
Yeah, so I'm from Union, Missouri. I usually just say St. Louis area. So when I graduated from high school, I actually only toured two colleges. One college, when I told them what I was interested in, which was at the time sports broadcasting, what they kind of were telling me that my path would be at that university, I just wasn't aligning with. And so then when I got to University of Central Missouri, I actually met you, and you were telling me about this new program, like sports communication, that I could take on as a minor. And I remember touring the studio over in the DMP building, and immediately I just was like, "This is where I want to go." It just like clicked for me. It was just one of those cool moments. My mom was there with me, and the campus overall just has a real homey feel as well. And I just knew it was going to be a good fit. And like I think about all the time if I would have made a different decision, how different my life would be. So I'm very thankful that I chose the path that I did with UCM.
Well, we're thankful you chose it too. So, when you were in high school, did you have experience in broadcasting in the digital media, or was it just something that you'd been a sports fan, you'd been a broadcast fan, and thought, I'd like to get into that?
So sports have always been, so I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger sisters, and we've all played sports. I played basketball since I was in third grade. Started on a co-ed team and then just kept playing all the way through high school. Played volleyball, ran track, went to state for track. And so I always knew I wanted to do something in sports. And I idolized the on-air female reporters, the sideline reporters. And I thought that would be something I could contribute to with my background in playing sports. And then I just really like to make connections. Um, Unfortunately, Union did not have any programs or like after school groups that did anything like that until after I left.
Of
So
course.
which is great. Which is like I mean that's like getting it at some point is still a great thing. But yeah, no, mainly it was just I always grew up like having a love for sports, and I knew that's what I wanted to do when I went to college.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you here. We were glad that I wish you had that experience at Union, but it's okay. We get students who didn't have any experience when they came to college. We get students who went through sports broadcasting or just broadcasting programs when they were in high school. We'll take you wherever we can get you. We talked a little bit about when we were opening. We did the internship, or not the internship, but you did the class, the sports broadcasting class. We got to go up into the Mavericks game. You got to go to the MIAA tournament. Talk about some of the things that you did while you were in college that helped prepare you for where you are today.
So it's funny that you say that. So I tell this story all the time, and you're in it. So because I get asked a lot, like like either whether it's coworkers, colleagues, sometimes like kids will come up to me and ask how I got here. I don't know if you remember, but it was a Jenny's volleyball game, and I poorly prepared for the my on-air segment. I was responsible for color and play-by-play, and for the first portion of that game, it was bad. So you pulled me and put me on camera. So and then I remember afterwards you said, "Wow, if you wouldn't have messed up, we never would have known how good you are running a camera." And so that's when kind of like everything shifted for me because then I was like, okay, I want to learn how to edit. I want to learn how to direct. I want to know how to work a camera because this industry is so competitive and fast paced. So if I know like the whole sphere of it, like that would make me more appealing when it comes to um like a job or get like a career in sports. So sorry, I didn't know if that notification got you.
Oh,
But that was a big, like, I know that wasn't like the MIAA or like the Mavericks game, but that was like a big point because we would work all the games. Like, I remember doing like wrestling, baseball, doing the sideline reporting for football, but that like small game, that like little moment was like, I think really big for like my future in sports.
I don't remember that at all, but that right there speaks to Allie Overstreet and your resilience because you could have what could have been a negative, you could have taken that and said, "Well, he won't let me do what I want to do," and just gone into his shell and pouted about it. Instead, you took it and you went and did a different job and you grew from it. And man, I'm proud of you. That's I don't remember that, but I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, well, I tell it a lot. So, because like a lot of people don't realize that like in my, like when I'm working with like the Cardinals or the Blues, like that I started out wanting to do broadcast. Everybody just assumes that I was a content creator. So it's a fun story to tell. But I mean, I do remember too being solo for volleyball because none of the boys wanted to commentate with me. So
Yeah, I know.
hopefully that's changed.
We are more of a production program, so consistently getting people who want to be on the air is a bit of a challenge, but we get some every once in a while, so we'll take them when we get them, right?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to read through your LinkedIn bio because again, I keep coming back to this resilience. Again, you wanted to work in professional sports. And so many people think they can come to college, they get the degree, and bam, they're going to be working, calling basketball games in the NBA or being on the mic for the Cardinals games or things like that. It typically doesn't happen that way. You have to work your way to it. You did exactly that to get where you are today, working in professional sports with 3 professional leagues. But I'm going to read through your LinkedIn bio here. So after graduating, you served a digital media internship with the Blues, served as a social media specialist with Blues Hog Barbecue, took a job as a marketing assistant for the Eureka Chamber of Commerce, worked as a community manager for Fight Colorectal Cancer, worked as a marketing specialist for Grow Marketing Agency, and now you work as you're when I read this, and I think you said you've left this, worked as a venue coordinator for Silver Oak Chateau, and then you broke into professional sports where you work seasonally as a live content creator and social media contributor for the National Hockey League, Major League Baseball, and the United Football League. Now
Mhm.
that's a journey. You stuck with it. You did all the little other jobs while you were building your brand, while you were building your skills. You never gave up, did you?
No. So I had a moment. So after college when I graduated, I'm sitting like in my childhood bedroom and I had a crash out moment where I was like I'm not going to be successful. I don't know how to do this like cuz I again, you said it earlier like you think it's just going to happen immediately and that was a culture shock for me because I don't like to sit still. I wanted to work. I was very hungry to work. And I remember just kind of scrolling on Teamwork online, and I found the Blues internship. So I applied. They called later that day, like 3 or 4 hours, and they said, "Can you come in for an interview?" Went in for an interview the next day, and then got the third day got a call that I got the internship. So that was one of those like I needed that moments. This is where it's going to start. And so I did the internship, and so I've been with the NHL for this will be my seventh season. So even though I was working all those other jobs, I was still working the hockey season as a live social contributor. But yeah, that was definitely like one of those, again, just one of those moments where it was like a turning point for where I was headed. Cause I panicked there for a little bit because I was so unsure.
Well, you were still working in digital media, in marketing, using the skills that you learned in college while you're waiting to get that break. What kept you going?
I think still having that lifeline with the Blues and like, so just like to backtrack a little bit, so you know this, I graduated in May of 2018, so I walked. But to get my diploma, I had to do like a certain amount of hours for an internship. So I still walked, but I did my internship following that May.
Which is common. We get a lot of
Yes,
students who will
yeah,
walk in May and then do their internship following. Sure.
yeah. And so I was out of school, so I had all this free time. So it was it was an unpaid internship. I was there Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, because I just was like, I wanted to work. I was like, I'm here. Use me how you want. So with that, I was the digital media intern, and so obviously being there for that large amount of times, I would get my work done. I would just start walking around that front office and ask people if they needed help. I that's how I discovered social media. I got into coding. I learned how to code for emails. I wrapped pucks. A couple times, Ernie ran the front desk. She'd go and take her lunch. I'd man the front desk, and then that's actually how I found my way to Ashley Weiss, who at the time was with Blue Note Productions, and she did the on-camera work. So when we would have free time, she'd let me go with her to do her stand-ups, and then she'd let me do my own. Because at the time, that was still the goal for me. And then again, I was working with social media. Elise Butler, who is still with the Blues and a really like huge mentor for me and good friend. I worked social media with her, and that's how the shift kind of happened for me because I was like, oh, like we didn't really have any social media classes when I was in college. So like getting to like kind of see this and realize that this is a job, it was a different form of storytelling and connection. So I was like, this might be something I want to pursue. Um, and so that was the 2018, 2019 season with the Blues. And coincidentally enough, that was the Stanley Cup run for them as well.
Good
First time,
timing.
yeah, first time in franchise history. My boss always with the NHL always tells me I was like the good luck charm. But halfway through that internship, the person who had the role as the live social contributor or LSC for the NHL had to step back. And at that time, the Blues were the worst team in the league. So the NHL was reached out to Elise with the Blues and was like, "Do you have anybody who could fill in just until playoffs?" Like, because they weren't thinking that the Blues were going to advance. And so with my work with Elise, even though that wasn't who I was reporting to, she had really high, like, she had high recommendations for me. So I took on the NHL job while also interning. And then again, it went into the Stanley Cup run. So like just the coolest, like being a St. Louis fan and loving hockey and like being able to be a part of that, like the coolest first experience in professional sports I could ever ask for. Um, I got to obviously like work the games, like getting content, video and photos for social media. I got to work the watch parties. I got to do hospital visits, and then I got to walk in the Stanley Cup parade. Like hands down, like one of the best memories I have like to this day. And then ever since then, I've been so obviously like the internship was only for a season, 2018 to 19, and then ever since then I've been with the NHL working for them while like you mentioned from my LinkedIn list while going through all that. And then the MLB has a similar program. So theirs is called Live Content Creator, LCC. And so one thing I've learned in this space is to always post your work. And I will live by that because that's how I got the MLB job. My current boss with MLB, she reached out to me on Instagram. She DM'd me for on my photography page and asked for an interview. And so I am currently in my third season with MLB.
So you didn't apply for the MLB job. You posted your work on Instagram and she found you.
And so so I will say the content creation photographer uh what am I community in St. Louis is very close knit. It's the same people. It's a great group. Like because like I'm eager to learn. I have a lot of questions, and some of these guys, like I would not be where I am today. Scott Roback, he's the team photographer for the Blues. Jeff Curry, the list goes on. But they, I guess, like MLB reached out to them. They had nothing but nice things to say. The person who had the job but like left, like we had worked very briefly together, and like he like recommended me. And so the way you treat people is a huge thing in this industry too, like the relationship building, like whether it's a security guard or an usher or like a fellow photographer, like the way you treat people goes a long way.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And so now you're working with United Football League. So you're working with three
Yes.
professional leagues. And I love your story there because again, this isn't what you want, the direction you thought you were going to go. You knew you wanted to do in professional sports. You wanted to be the sideline reporter, but you got that internship. And it's the same thing we tell students over and over and over again. Get in there, ask how I can help, try different things, try and work in different departments. You did exactly that, and you got to go work at the Stanley Cup. And now you're working for Major League Baseball and the United Football League. What all do you do in each of these different jobs? So you talk about content creation, kind of break it down for us. What do you do with the content creation and with the social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with hockey. So when I came into the program in 2019, it was strictly cell phone based. So crazy to say 2019 when we're in 2025, by the way. um, Strictly cell phone based. They'd send you a cell phone, and then we use Slack, and then we would at the time use like a different archiving system, but now we use Greenfly. Some of my sports creatives will know exactly what that is. Um, but so you're always working for the market that you're based in. So every market has two LSCs for hockey. And so you split the schedule for the hockey season, and again, you always work for the home team. You get a shot list from them of what they're looking for, and then you reach out to the away team and you get a shot list from them as well as the league. Because at the end of the day, I work for the league, so they're my top priority. But I'm also supplying content to the teams within the league. Um, it was very different when it first started. Nowadays, my shot list looks a little different, like with arrivals, warm ups, getting fan content, and then like the actual game action, as well as post game action. Funny enough, I only took one. This is going to really expose me. I only took one photography class in college, and I remember loving it. But yeah, just the one. I think it was. You might have to correct me. Stephen.
Chief
Some
Price, media
Yes,
aesthetics.
I think it was. I think that's who taught it. I may be completely off, but I thought that was who it was.
He
Um,
started the class, so probably.
Maybe okay, then good. Yeah, he would literally would just give us a camera and give us like a topic for the day, and then let us go, and then be like, just be back by this time. So it was very like independent work. So I like that. But anyway, so the first season was strictly cell phone based. And then I started noticing that other LSCs were getting DSLRs, like getting cameras. And so I didn't want to get pushed out. So I was like, okay, I'm going to invest in a camera, and I'm going to learn. So it kind of goes back to the community here in St. Louis, like just being like so gracious with like teaching and like always having recommendations. So yeah, bought my first camera, February 2020. World shut down March 2020, so I had to practice my photography skills on my dogs. Um, but yeah, ever since then, I've just been kind of learning and upgrading my equipment. And like yeah, so like I'll still go back to the cell phone because that's my roots. And I mean, even the cell phone can perform like that can perform way better on social compared to like a DSLR. Um, but yeah, so all my content with the Blues like gets used on social media in real time. So like you're up against the glass, like someone scores a huge goal, you're either taking photo or video, depending on what the team wants or your own discretion. And while the game is still going on, you're pulling that content, you're editing it, and you're sending it to the social team while also not missing like what's going on.
Yeah,
So
how does that work? How do you do that?
it's all I know. So I um I'm very much, and people like I would love to invest in an iPad at sometimes. It just depends on your preference, but I mean everything's on the cell phone. Like I use like a lightning adapter, like I'm sending like I have multiple SD cards, and then Lightroom and Premiere Rush are my best friends. So that's hockey, and then baseball again is very similar. So baseball, I am actually the only content creator for the Cardinals. So that's 80 games at home plus travel. So I've been able to go to spring training. I've gotten to go to a couple minor league parks. I got to go to Rickwood, which was really just incredible. That was out in Alabama, and it was between the Giants and the Cardinals, and getting to be a part of that for the Negro League and the history was the coolest. But so it's very similar. I work with the home teams, the away teams give me their shot list, and then obviously the league as well. The MLB, I will say, is heavier on the video side of content because they're constantly pushing out edits or putting together like players' posts like for social media. Um, so that again is very similar to hockey, and then the UFL is the same thing, but with that I was strictly video, and so that's me just again pulling highlight videos, editing them, and setting them in real time for social. Um, I'll have like the couple of like content stuff that'll get used for like marketing or like yearbooks, but mainly my stuff is on social media or sometimes the website.
I remember the first time I was on LinkedIn and you had posted something and there were photos of you taking pictures. And I was like, what? I thought she was going to be on air because when you graduated, that's what you wanted to do. And I remember looking at them and reading what you'd written and everything. And I was just so proud because here's one of my former students who had this path they wanted to go down. They found another path that was really working for them and they fell in love with it and they were finding success. And I was just like, you go, Allie. Way to go. Way to make it happen. What's next for Allie Overstreet?
So I again, like I said earlier, I'm starting my seventh season with hockey, and then I'm currently in my third season for baseball. Right now, I have been freelance full time for over a year. So I've been picking up. I just got to work the CONCACAF game here in St. Louis against Guatemala and the men's USA team. And they used my content on social media. I've done a couple different things for college as well, so that was a lot of fun. But right now, it's just kind of I'm just kind of grinding. I absolutely love my jobs with the leagues. I wish I could do that forever, but honestly, the end game goal is to work full time for a league. And I always thought I always thought I would end up working full time for a team, which I haven't completely written that off. That is still something that I would be absolutely interested in if the opportunity came up. But getting the opportunity to work for the league and getting to work with so many different teams and players, it's hard to explain because like obviously I have my love for St. Louis, and you build these relationships and you get to know the team, but then getting to have a different team come in and provide content for them and learn about them and their routine and all of that, I like the freedom and the individuality of it and getting to do something different. And again, that could always change in the future because I thought I was going to be an on-air reporter. But the goal right now is just to keep working. I love it. I don't like to sit still. And again, we talked about this earlier before we did the intro, but there's been overlaps sometimes with like hockey and baseball or football, and it's always hard. Like I wish I could be at multiple places at once. But at the same time, I'm also very grateful that I have that problem. And so like I'll never take it for granted.
Well, and they clearly appreciate you and the work you've done that they let you, okay, well, sorry, Cardinals. I'm working the Blues still. They've made a postseason run. And Cardinals are like, okay, no problem. We'll get you when we can get you. That they don't just say, well, then we'll just go find somebody else. They like the work you've done, and you continue developing and working with them. And it's again, I keep stressing on this. It's so exciting and so gratifying to see one of our former students that's recognized. I have multiple paths I can go. I have multiple skills that I've developed, and you found something that you really love to do. So that's just great. I'm oozing with pride. Um, so before I let you go, give us some advice for a current DMP student, UCM DMP student. What would you tell them to keep working towards that ultimate goal? And then what would you tell a incoming student, whether a transfer or a high school senior that's looking at coming to UCM for digital media? What would you tell them?
I think for someone who's about like a current DMP student would be you are, and I may word this wrong, but you are not too good to do any sort of job. Like I said earlier, I was working the front desk, I was taking calls, I was wrapping pucks. But that again was a crucial part of my steps. So you're never too good for one job. If someone needs help, I would always step up because again, they're going to know your name, and if someone needs a recommendation later on down the road, you're going to come to mind. Um, I
Yeah, it's
always
not
say
always just the skills. It's that work ethic and that willingness to be a team player that you demonstrate.
well, even just I so my boss, one of my bosses, Brett with MLB, he said, I would rather you miss a home run than be mean to someone. He's like, I would rather you be nice to someone and miss the shot and then like get it later on. So I that's he said this a while ago, and that's like something that kind of stuck with me because when you do have this like high profile of a job and like working in the league, like you're still a person. Like the athletes are still people, the staff, the ushers, the security guards, like we're all there spending time together. Like might as well make the most of it and like build those relationships. And again, MLB I did not apply for. UFL I did not apply for. They reached out to me through recommendations and then seeing my work on social media.
Which is just
So
so cool.
so I know it's like so just always it sounds like treat others how you want to be treated. And again, like your sports family, you're with them more than you are your real family. So like again, you're might as well have a good time together. Might as well like just like spread the joy. And so I would say that and then always post your work. I had people who were like, oh, like, I don't know. I'm like, no, like, that's your portfolio. That's something for you to look back on and see how far you've come. And then who knows if someone sees it and they think it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen, and then you're hired. Always post your work.
Yeah, excellent. What about that student who's thinking about coming to UCM?
Definitely like make the visit, and you'll feel it again. Like I remember being on the campus and just having that homey feeling. But I met some of my best friends at UCM, so that's another thing where I'm just like, wow, if I would have taken a different path, I still I probably come to Kansas City 3 or 4 times a year to see my best friends. And that like they're huge part of my life and my support system, and having them as well as the classes. You're not a number. People actually care. Like I remember you pulling me aside multiple times when I mean there were times I wanted to quit. I didn't think I was good enough. I remember at a wrestling tournament, I just was like, well, I think I'm going to change my major, and you like panicked. You like
Ain't
pulled me
happening.
aside. Yeah, you were like,
Ain't
oh,
happening.
you're like, that would be a big mistake. Don't do that. And I just, yeah, again, like just those little moments. Like Dr. Eric Newsom is like, we're like, it's always on my mind. Just an incredible teacher. Like, and obviously like you, like there are just so many people from there that I owe a lot of where I am today, like to you guys.
Well, we couldn't be prouder. You've everything that we've stressed to you guys. Practice your skills, post your work,
Mhm.
keep working, keep grinding, look for opportunities, and above all, just be kind. You
Yes.
have embodied all of that, and it's led you to your dream. It's led you to great success, and I can't wait to see you continue to develop and where it takes you next. Allie, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for all that you've done for the sports world, for those around you. We're super proud of you. Just keep up the great work.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks all of you for tuning in today. Remember, you can catch every episode on our YouTube channel through the UCM Media Network. That's youtube.com/UCMMN. You can also listen on Spotify. Special thanks to Jake Mager for creating our theme music for us. Again, this is Dr. Joe Moore reminding you, you can get there from here. Have a great day.